Welcome, welcome. Hear ye, hear ye. We are here to talk about Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story on this fine Monday. I am Jade.
We just
Lady,
going around.
yes, Lady Carlotta. Yes, Lady
Um,
Carlotta.
I'm I'm Carla Stillwell, or Lady Carlotta of Chicagonia, and this is my familiar. Which one are you? This is one of my two familiars. Frack or Frackadonius is his Bridgerton name.
Thank you, Lord.
Nicodemus.
Nicodemus. So my name is Nick Whitcomb. I am coming to you from Hillsboro, Oregon, in my office. And Lord Nicodemus. That's me. Stands for nigga.
Thank you, Lady,
What?
Lady Stephanie.
Just Lady Stephanie. Like I wasn't prepared, and now it doesn't matter. Lady, Lady Stephanie. That's all I got. Okay.
It's way too soon, y'all. It's way too soon.
Whoa. And I am the Marchioness of Parkerville, which lives in my head. Seriously, it's a real place. Come visit. It's my mind palace. Okay. Love it.
My
Love it.
Sherlock reference. All
Yes.
right. So this week we are talking about Queen Charlotte, which dropped on Netflix on May the 4th, which was just a couple of days before some other event. I didn't see it. Did anybody see something about a new
No,
king?
nobody watching that. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Oh,
You're talking about
It's
Pimp
so
the
Charles the Third,
inauguration of
Pimp
the
Charles
British.
the Third and his bottom B.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm here for
Yeah.
Farmer George. I didn't have anything for him. I
I
did
I
not.
I, I, I
For Farmer George.
Yeah, I could not serve at the behest of King Charles the Third. I can't with your whole side piece, with coleslaw. May 6th is National Coleslaw Day now forever. It is the day.
International.
It is
International Coleslaw
International
Day.
Coleslaw Day because it is the day that we learned that a side piece can be queen.
We had been told that wasn't possible.
But
You
now
can't
we
make one a
know.
housewife, but
You
apparently
apparently
you
you
can make one a
can.
queen.
You can make one a queen. So May 6th, National Side Piece Day.
Okay.
International, forgive me.
With a dry biscuit, and that's it. I'm sorry.
That,
Ah,
thank you for
I think
giving that.
I think what I appreciate most about the day is that I actively did not watch, but my circle knows me enough that they sent me all the petty gifts. So I feel like I got everything I needed from that experience.
This is what I did too. I got what I needed. Megan was throwing a birthday party for her child in California. Harry showed up and went to dinner with his cousins, sat in the third row with his cousins, and left right after to go to his son's birthday party in California. That was how all of us in America felt, and the rest of the colonies.
He didn't want a sandwich. He didn't want a dry sandwich. He was like, I'm just gonna go home. I'm just gonna go home.
He went and
He
had
did, he didn't
dinner
been to
with his
Megan's.
cousins.
He'd have been to Megan's family house now, so he's like, I don't eat that anymore. Like I don't even know what this is. I was like,
Cold cuts, cold shoulder. He just said he didn't want it. He went home
that
in
should
the
be the
same
name of his
suit.
next book.
Cold
Cuts and Cold
cuts,
Shoulders.
cold shoulders.
I don't
Mhm.
know how well Megan cooks, but I'm sure that her mother uses Laurie's seasoning.
Oh yes.
Well,
I
she
don't
was.
think so. Her mother did not have the talk with her, which is why she was surprised to find out that people don't like black folks.
Well,
Don't
just
know.
because her mother didn't have the talk doesn't mean her mother didn't take her around her grandmama and her auntie Niecy and them.
It didn't
I,
stick though. She might have done it, but it didn't stick. It didn't. But anyways, we done got
yeah,
sidetracked from
I
the
mean,
yeah.
real
but that,
queen.
but
We
that,
just had
that
to
I
celebrate.
feel like that is
I
less
love
of
her
a
though. I
problem.
love her though.
I feel like it's
That's
less
the
of a
black people's
problem of
princess.
upbringing and what she was taught or wasn't taught by her family, and more a conditioning of Hollywood and being someone that looked the way that she did that was
The
trying to
LA
work.
of it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
And
good point, Nick.
Harry's probably like, Megan, I think I want to try those collard greens. Like I was very got over here. He walking around with no shoes on, eating greens out the bowl.
Well, since we're here at this topic, and it came up. So Charlotte came up not just because of Bridgerton, but because of Megan. Um, how many
Mm-hmm.
of us have read the book Harry? What is it? Spare?
Spare.
Bear.
Spare. I've read Spare. Well,
You read
I
it?
audiobook Spare. Yes, Spare was it was actually
Ditto.
entertaining.
It was so entertaining. It
It
was
was
an
what?
excellent book. It was an excellent book.
Harry reads the audiobook. It's phenomenal.
Yes.
It's the pettiest piece of literature ever put to paper. It's petty.
I would say riveting
And petty.
and petty, but well done.
Oh yes. Brava.
Okay.
Bravissimo.
And also Charlotte, so talking about who the real Charlotte is before we get into the show just a little bit. Um Megan, this is a couple pieces of information. Did you know that Meghan and Harry's wedding was on Queen Charlotte's birthday?
Mm.
Did
Ooh,
not
I did
realize that.
not.
The
They're
Daily
so
Mail
cute.
never mentioned that at all, but she did make Kate cry. So that's all I heard.
Also, the route that was taken was the same. It was something that was parallel to Charlotte. Like the route that Megan took to the
Mm.
church was parallel to Charlotte as well. And there was another piece of information in there about and around that wedding that was related to Charlotte that made it seem as though those things were not necessarily coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
That was yes. So in looking at who what we're talking about Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story. It is betrothed against her will to King George. Young Charlotte arrives in London on her wedding day and faces scrutiny from the monarch's cunning mother, who is what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Mm-hmm.
The cast. Let's talk
Wow,
about
we didn't upgraded. Look at, we got whole graphics, y'all. This is wonderful.
what Nick, where you been? So from the
I got some
cast,
lean in.
anyone off the top of your head just stand out to you before we get into it?
I think
Danberries, both of the Danberries,
yes,
and of course Queen Charlotte, young and old.
and I have to agree with that. I have to co-sign the whole cast. This was lovely casting.
It was very well done.
It was lovely casting.
Also, Brimsley. I became
Yes.
such a fan of
Oh my
Brimsley.
God.
Brimsley had my whole heart in his hand.
I
So
had
well
to go back
acted.
and watch the first season. I started rewatching some of the episodes from the first season just to catch some of the tea. I was like, Brimsley.
He had some
Yes.
breakout scenes that were just special. Like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that divide and the love. I just was here for it.
You
The
know.
Danberries and both of the
Hmm.
Charlottes.
Okay, and
Perfect. I mean,
Coral. I love Coral.
I like Young
She
Violet.
don't gossip. I like it. What'd you
so
say, Carla?
I
Coral
like
was Lady
Young Violet.
Danbury's maid.
Mm-hmm.
She was funny. Coral was fun.
She was absolutely funny. Okay. So just a few pieces of information. She was born on May 19th, 1744 in Germany. Um, she died at Kew Palace, and we heard Kew throughout. That's where he was. But
Hmm.
she died at Kew, but she made Buckingham Palace a thing.
Yep.
Married King George at 17. They had 15 children, which was a feat at that time to have 15 living children, and 13 of them survived into adulthood.
She had
And
no stillbirths and only one miscarriage.
right, that is a feat. And she was pregnant before a year was up into their marriage.
Oh,
And
we saw, girl. They was getting it in.
Even days.
and
Odd
Even
days.
days. Yes.
They was like Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. Just
so
keep it
there
coming.
were several significant grandchildren. I only listed the big one, which is Queen Victoria.
Hmm.
And getting the Queen Victoria was also accurately portrayed at the end of this series. How the race to make an heir,
Hmm.
accurate. This is an actual portrait from Queen Elizabeth's collection of the wedding of Charlotte and George. I can't zoom in, but can you see a hue on her?
Elizabeth II.
I don't think so.
This is what they have not been able to. No matter how her skin has been powdered in these pictures, nobody has ever done anything about that nappy ass hair. That hair got, as we used to say as children, BB shots and judo knots. That hair was 4C. And no, there is no depiction of her where that hair is flowing, long,
No,
luxurious,
nope,
cascading
nope,
softly down her shoulders. It's not.
nope, not at all.
Fun historical fact, her great grandfather was said to have been a Moor,
Oh,
but the whites, in their dismissal of her African lineage, say it was so far back that couldn't possibly be a thing.
One drop. One drop. What happened?
Her great grandfather was a whole Moor,
Mm-hmm.
an entire Moor in the late 15, early 1600s. It wasn't that deep. It wasn't that far off. Wasn't that far away.
Wasn't that far. Mhm. And a more on her from her Portuguese family. Now we know what
Yes,
happened with Portugal.
yes, yes.
This about to be a history lesson, y'all. I hope y'all ready. I hope y'all ready.
I think that's all I'm gonna say for now. I
Because
think
these
that's it.
white women are out here doing these historical YouTubes, making it a point to point out that that was fictional or there was a more, but he was so far back. Just like slavery was 400 years ago, and I need to get over that too.
Right, right. Wait,
She
I
looked
mean,
like Tanisha. She looked like my friend Tanisha from grammar
Shut
school.
up, not Nisha.
I
I
mean,
was, I
She
was
looked
about to
like
say the
Tanisha
whole
Wilkerson.
structure of her face, like that's not even like a European like
Look at the
no.
hair.
like that's a black
Every
woman. That is a black lady. Look at her. Look at that
I
nose.
mean,
Come on now. They hair don't do
and
that.
and it doesn't matter how light she is. There are just some things.
you can't do nothing with them edges though.
That's
You can't do nothing with them
that's
edges
real.
though. Them edges look like my
So
edges.
familiar. They look so familiar. And you can't do that with straight hair
Only our hair goes up. Only our hair goes up.
to the sky. I mean,
Like, come on now.
so this is just to give a little bit of context of who this woman was that they are saying, no, no,
Oh,
no,
he
no,
slipped
no,
up on
no.
that one. He painted an actual black woman in that picture. Y'all see the hue? I see the hue in that one.
Look
I
at
see the
that
hue
one.
in that last one.
Okay, I think that's it for the from the Queen Elizabeth collection because these are portraits. Okay, so in talking about the show, um, what do we like?
Yes.
5 out of 5 stars.
I loved it. I liked it all. I loved the yes, yes. I just thought it was really good. Thought it was well done. I loved the history of it. I loved that it was really like tripling down on this concept of like feminism and what it means to own your body and being property and like these things that we have always talked about and we understand about the time, but actually like seeing the transaction from beginning to end and like and watching Charlotte like learn how to come into her own in the whole situation. I just thought it was really I thought it was really well done. I liked it from beginning to end.
um, exquisite, spectacular, amazing. Some things to note. Shonda, you ain't slick. I heard every R&B song you had them play on the violin, ma'am. Whole
Yes.
thing, whole thing.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
lived, I breathed. I was like, why can't I just hear Alicia Keys and violin all the time? Because I never need to hear her sing. Praise the Lord.
Oh,
It was amazing. It was spectacular. Um, when God stepped out, when he woke up for the eighth day, he made them wigs. Those wigs came from heaven.
Let me tell you, there was one shot, super close up shot of Queen Charlotte, like the current Queen Charlotte, and the edges
Yes, yes,
on that wig.
just
I was like,
spectacular.
I was
I
sitting there
saw
like
it.
this. I was like,
I know exactly that shot you're
I
talking
do
about.
too.
It looked good.
I was like, for the love of art and drama,
I was like,
those
see, this is why
wigs.
these streaming networks ain't got no money because they paid it all for the wigs because that's a good wig. That was a good wig.
Because
No,
Tyler Perry
somebody.
spends no money, and Shonda spends all the money.
Well, Tyler Perry, no, despite no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I was about to say something. I was about to say something.
I
I
think
mm.
we
will.
have the spectrum now. Like
Yes,
you're like on the wig scale, is it Tyler or
Tyler
was it
Perry,
Queen Charlotte?
Twilight, or
Oh
was
my
it
God,
Queen Charlotte?
the
that's
wigs.
spectrum.
Yes,
Wow.
Twilight. That's a good call. Okay,
Right?
because yes.
And then my third thing that was so impressive was in the writing. The idea of, okay, so you have fought and given us this freedom. You played all these tricks and games and got us these titles, but your man is dead. Now you got to keep how do we keep our legacy? The fight for Black legacy and the way in which it was written in the script was
I just had to show this one. That's the actual Lord Danbury.
Mhm.
The makeup they put on that man,
ooh, they made him
That man
repulsive.
looked tragic.
like, why did they do that to him?
He's so
Because
cute.
if he
Look at
looks
his
so good, it wouldn't have come off the same way.
no.
You know what I really loved about that story though? Because even though she did not love that man, like she had no interest in having sex with that man, but she never wanted that man to see himself as less than anyone else.
Yes.
Mm.
And
Very.
that actress, when she gave that monologue to her son and she was like, "You are Lord Danbury," and she was like, "You come from Warwick." She was amazing. She was absolutely incredible.
The
Hmm.
friendship that they formed.
Yes.
The
Oh my
friendship that
God.
they formed was
Oh yeah.
amazing. And at the end, when she was upset with her, why didn't you come to me? Did you think I couldn't do anything? Did you think I wouldn't do anything? That was luscious.
It
It
was,
was
yeah,
beautiful.
there were some really precious moments, really precious moments.
So many.
I want to point out how much Jade likes this show because normally Jade is asking questions and then she go on mute and then she won't talk. But Jade done talk like 5 times, and that's how you know this is a solid win. Jade, you'll be asking some questions. So in 60, and then you be going off. But today you were like, no, 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 no. Listen, this was a masterpiece. It's fine. We all know it.
Because the show is just
Ah,
The natural hair they have been showing in these interviews, I'm just like, oh my god,
Love it. Love it.
How pretty are those girls?
are
How
they not
pretty
playing?
are
pretty.
they?
oh my God. Yes.
Oh
Because
my goodness.
she's American.
Oh well,
And really smart.
who does she look like to me? What's that girl? Kiki. She's giving me Kiki
Oh,
Palmer.
I feel
Mm.
that. I see that.
Hmm. I can
Can
see
we
it.
please, can we please talk about Lady Danbury getting all up in Mr. Bridgerton's daddy?
Listen, baby, young Violet was confused.
Violet wasn't
Young
ready.
when
When I
Violet
tell
grew,
you, like, it
when when
was,
she, when she saw the mask as an adult, she was like,
she saw them hat. She was like, "Lord, I remember the day my daddy made that hat. He wouldn't let me help with that hat. How did that hat get? Oh, Lord."
baby, and the way young Lady Danbury read the Queen, the Queen Mother, it was the reeds. It was the reeds.
Okay. I'm
And it
done.
was so good when she said, "You are a worthy adversary. I don't like you, but you are a
Oh, that was a
worthy
good monologue.
adversary." That was so good. It was like, and then she popped right back up and said, "Well, let's talk about titles." Like
And then she said, "Good, here's a little more alcohol." Like I loved that. I love that idea. She was like, "Listen," she was like,
She
"We're
was like,
only enemies fundamentally." She's like, "This fight is a two-way street. So like, you gonna fight for it? Because if you fighting, we fighting, and let's go."
she was like, but this whimpering and this simpering and this is that. I wouldn't have never invited you over here for this.
I love
I
how
see
mad
this
she got.
every
She got
day.
genuinely mad. She was like, "Bitch, stop your goddamn crap. What are you doing?"
That scene in the book was so beautiful that I liked it even more. I didn't think I could like it more, but the book made me appreciate that scene a lot.
And
Really.
Stephanie, you had some insight from the book on that particular moment. Could you share that?
Lady Danbury talked about how her husband kept trying to, he would get in these spaces and they'd reject him, and he had so much experience, like getting all the way there, them shutting the door in his face. He was prepared. He had been trained up for rejection. She, as a queen, as a person of royalty, had not been prepared and had not practiced, like, basically being like, you're less than me. She didn't have that. So when she cried, she's like, what is this? Like, do you know who I am? Like, this is not what happened. This is not my life. And I'm like, oh. And it just reminded me of Megan. Like, if you're not like actively experiencing that trauma, when it happens, you're like, ugh. And so that just felt like a really real parallel to me.
Also, 9 million more people watched the Queen Elizabeth's funeral than watched the coronation. So I just want to point that out.
I've been waiting for some Donald Trump, like, it was the biggest. No one has ever watched the coronation more than they watched my coronation. He knows that would be a lie.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I felt like being that petty in that moment.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's talk about
He
George.
was so good.
Oh, George. Oh, George.
This actor.
This Tom Cruise smile. This Tom Cruise smile.
Oh my God.
It's great.
I understood why she was looking him deep in his eyes and they was creating all them lives. I got it.
Why she was sitting at the window? I understand.
I understood.
Mm-hmm.
At the glass? Like,
oh yeah, like all distracted. I understood. He was Farmer George.
Farmer George.
Yes, Rhonda. Gorgeous Farmer George.
Mm-hmm.
I love that when he went out and got naked, both her and Brimsley were like, we can put a wall up, that's fine. They were like, you want to run around in the garden naked? Be our guest. We will make it private. I was like, yes, I love that plan.
So I had a couple of actual quotes that were actually in the series. The queen is my physician and no man can have a better. She is my friend and no man can have a better. That is a quote. You will have the benefit by your voyages to put spirit in every body, to be more known by the world, and if possible, more beloved by the people in general. That must be the case, but not equal to the love of her who subscribes herself, your very affectionate friend and wife, Charlotte.
That was a beautiful relationship. And this is why I get sick of these history Karens that are all over the interwebs. So, it was a fictional story. Everything you read about Charlotte and George's relationship is exactly what was portrayed. Period. That they had that they loved each other, that they was like homies. And part of the fight was with one of them children. They had to fight their kid to marry the broad. Like, you got to marry her. He was like, but I hate her. And they were like, man, they didn't understand that dynamic because they really had genuine affection. So all of this shit is true, except the fact that she Black.
Except that part. Not possible.
That's absolutely fiction.
I also really enjoyed sorry, my whole computer screen went dead. I was like, oh Lord, they got me. Okay.
It's King Charles.
I really appreciated how much they showed of his treatments. And I like that because I feel like there was, that's also real. Like these in asylums that existed across the nation were these horrible places where people were subjected to this abuse 24/7.
They just stopped doing lobotomies in America.
It just stopped, right? And so, like,
current.
I was like, I thought they would show a couple times and be like, okay, see how bad it is. But that man was screaming from episode 2 to episode
Even when the
5.
door was shut, you knew it was bad.
Yes.
They did a whole episode on it, on how he felt. I mean, it was sort of excruciating.
Yeah.
The person who's, what do you say, Jade?
No, go ahead.
So the person who's like, I'm really trying to like get into my disability justice to understand. For me, it was real hard to be like, we have ableism got us in a chokehold. Like he got to be normal at the cost of his whole life. And that
Right.
really, I think I needed to hear that and be like, let him just be who he is.
Well,
What are we
and
doing?
that is what killed me was this whole idea where the dude was like, "Well, clearly to fix you, I have to like you are your hubris is too high. I need to break you
Mhm.
down so that you can obey the rules of the world and not have episodes." What?
I cried
That don't
A
even make
lot.
too
no
much.
sense.
I cried a lot.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard to watch
You know, I
and to
And
had to.
listen to, even if you weren't like looking like you heard it, like you. It was.
And as a mama, I love Emma. I would rather Emma's Emma's soul and spirit be intact than to try to make her normal. Uh-uh. I couldn't relate with a girl on that one.
and they showed him as an adult being tortured. How many years had he endured some form of torture before she came around?
In the book it says it was the whole time. Since he was little they tried to make him normal.
Oh, and when she came around, that scene
He said that way.
when when she was like, "Get the carriage," and they were like, "Where are you going?" She was like, "To be the
You.
queen."
Mhm.
She rolled up to that house and she was like, "Get him out the bath. I'm the goddamn queen. Stop playing with me." Like I was like,
Fix him a
yes. I
plate.
was
She said fix him a plate, get him a bath, go get
no.
my stuff. We
That's how
done.
you know she black. She was like, "Get him in the bathtub and get that baby some food."
That was
And
He needs a hot bath and to be fed. I said, you better read these mother down.
Wait, the scene with the queen though, when she was like, "He's the king, but I am your queen." Let's be very clear.
she was
You're
like,
a
oh,
princess.
you're so comfortable. I am.
I
And I
am
am.
because you
Mhm.
brought me here.
Like
You wanted
what?
gratitude, that's not what you're gonna get, ma'am.
When she fixed her head around her position,
Hmm.
she was like, oh,
mhm,
oh.
I am the palace.
And when you
mhm.
think of the actual historical parallels, you can tell in the work that she did when that transition happened for the actual Queen Charlotte. She
Hmm.
at some point she was like, "We about to do these schools. I'm about to make this women's hospital. We're about to do all of this. Uh, Everything in the colonies was named after her.
Mhm.
You can there's a historical point where she was like, oh, I'm sick of all you.
Yeah, what's on my
I am
calendar?
the queen."
When Adolphus bowed to her and she said, "Stand up, you look ridiculous."
He did sell her off, so you know what? She needed to
Oh
He,
yeah,
he,
I couldn't stand him. I was so happy when Lady Danbury turned him down.
I did not like him at all.
Mm-mm.
you know, I didn't mind him. He was playing his position. That
Yeah.
was his job at the time.
Okay, he
Oh,
did. He
not
did.
that's
Okay,
not
Jay,
at
you
all.
getting ahead of us. Okay,
I'm
Jay.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's just watch
I
the
clicked it
video. Mhm.
accidentally, but I just keep it there because we
Oh,
got to talk about Brinsley.
Rhonda just said the scenes under the bed made me ugly cry. Let me tell you something.
The
Let me
snot,
tell you
the
something.
snot,
Come back
the
to
Let me tell
Brinsley.
you
snot.
something. When she could not get his attention and she was like, "Come join me." Oh my God. When she said, "Come join me under the bed," and then and he was like, "Charlotte." Ah!
You didn't go over the wall.
You
I wasn't
didn't go
ready.
over the wall.
Oh my goodness. I was like, how did y'all
Like,
just put the
like
whole
here,
series?
like
Y'all just put
the
the whole
whole.
series in one scene. You just put their whole connection was in that one scene.
But
Right.
it was that. I mean, that's that thing. Like, if you've ever, because my two older sisters both struggled with their mental health, and if you've ever dealt with that, I was sick. Like your heart is like, because that's them. That is them. That's their little mind.
Well, he said when he met her at the wall, I'm just George.
Yeah.
I'm just George. And so when she said, just George, I just need George, Farmer George,
Farmer
Farmer George. And he under that bed and came
That was
to.
the safe word.
When he could not get out that damn carriage, I was like, why didn't they
I
take her
cried.
with him?
Right.
She should have gone. She should
No,
have
the
gone.
whole time they're preparing, and I was like, clearly
Like,
she's
why
going
aren't
with
you
him.
going?
So when she came in the lobby, she was like, "You'll be great." I
Oh,
was
she's
like,
supposed to
"Not
be
if you're not
pregnant.
there."
Mm-mm.
But this is that good acting and that good directing. The guy that played his servant, his
Reynolds? No.
Reynolds. Did you see the terror in
Yes.
his eyes when she
Yes.
was like, "You'll be fine"? He was like,
No, he won't.
"What? No." Like it was that little subtle. I was like, "Oh, you better act."
Ooh,
Ooh.
ooh. Speaking of the footmen, because they were some of the best characters in this whole.
Whew.
Like,
It's a
someone
love
needs to
story
do a
I didn't know I
whole.
needed.
I want a spin off
Mhm.
about them. I want a whole show about those two.
Oh.
I do too.
But
Okay,
would
can I
watch
show his picture now? Can I
because I
show
want to
him?
know what happened to him. He in the courtyard dancing by himself now. What happened? What happened to him? But
I
when
was
Queen
sick.
Charlotte was like at her lowest,
Hmm.
and Brimsley just reached his
Woo!
hand out.
Best scene I've ever seen in my entire life. The best scene
There
ever.
was this squish, squish, squish. I was the juiciest face. I think I text Jay. I was like, I cannot. I have wept uncontrollably for episode 5. I think that was episode 5 where my face. I was like, I'm not even gonna go. After this, I have to wash my face. There's no tissue strong enough for the snot and the boogers that's happening right now.
Like that, the loyalty that happened so quick. Like, Rizzo got that job like the day before she got there. And he's like, I'm gonna do this job well. And then it was like, she's just a queen. Oh, she's a human. Oh, she's my human. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we saw him act that. That man was
Yep.
great. 5 out of 5 stars.
And the way that he would go to bat for her with the
Always.
other footmen. And it's
Yes.
like
Hmm.
We're gonna get his
they had
note.
to compartmentalize their lives between their relationship and then their job. And they did it so seamlessly. Like, no, I'm not here to talk about us. I'm here to talk about her. She deserves the truth. She doesn't need to know anything. There's
Like,
That
nothing
little
to
hand touch.
secrets. You keep secrets.
You're above your station anyway. So
I was like,
can't
oh
say
my
that.
god, they're so gay. Like it was like this was one of the gayest relationships I've ever seen portrayed on television. I was like, this is very accurate.
And what
We
I
needed to
love,
see it though.
how and we need to see it and all of the house with staff for both of the houses because it was that's that damn good directing. It was all of them. Like they would be looking to Brimley and Reynolds like the fuck is what are we supposed oh we supposed to leave. Okay, we leave.
Can I have
Hold
dinner
on.
with you? This ain't gonna be good. She pissed.
Like like it was all of that made those scenes. Because how do you see somebody but you're not supposed to be seen? But you
Right?
see everything.
Carl, that's
But you're
exact
not
what I was thinking.
it's like
Hmm.
what world is this? Like they have ugly, nasty hurrah sex on the dinner table.
And y'all just supposed to. They were just. I was like, y'all nasty. Y'all just gonna stand there. Y'all nasty.
Okay, but they kept it quiet because Princess whatever couldn't get nobody to tell her the tea. She was over there like, are they together? People like,
Well, see, that's what happens when people like you. Like
right?
even if you are the new black woman in town from Germany,
Loyalty.
once the people are like, I work for you, and also she seemed dope as hell. I like her.
Mhm.
Like they ain't gonna tell your secrets.
I mean, she
And
was
his
funny.
people didn't tell either because they felt for him.
They could have been
Mm-hmm.
told. They could have
Mm-hmm.
been like, she called it a deformed bunny. No one told him that. He thought it was great. It's like she's loved this stuff.
And then when she understood what the dog was, Now she got 80 Pomeranians,
Right,
and
that's
all her
what
ladies got
Mhm.
Pomeranians. It's like, oh, okay.
The real
But it,
history is she brought those 2 Pomeranians from Germany
I
with
know.
her.
Jade, Lady Jade, let us enjoy the
I'm
fiction
sorry.
in it.
I'm sorry. I just thought I would throw that out there. Like, she brought them, and then it became a
Mhm.
thing because she brought them.
now, this is what I think is probably true. I think the relationship between her and her footman probably was true because in real life, she spoke no English, but he spoke fluent German. So for her first couple of years, her footman was the only one that could truly communicate with her.
Mm.
Yeah, in the book, she was struggling to say. She's like, I know what to say in German. I don't know how to say this here. Like, I know how to say, I need to climb a wall on my wedding in
Hmm.
German. I don't know how to say that in English. So that was interesting. I glanced over the fact that she was German.
Right.
And then the
That was
Mozart
the
scene.
very
Let's talk
beginning.
about that too. Okay, I'm
You
sorry,
said
Jane.
what? You said what?
The scene where they brought in Mozart was that this movie? Sure.
Mhm.
Yes,
That is
yes, it
Yeah,
was.
they were
absolutely.
like her taste, trash.
That was hilarious to me. They were like, oh, who's this young Mozart? And I was like,
They and that's true that he did come in for some celebration for her. I don't remember if she hired him or who hired him, but he did come in for her. And um Rhonda pointed out that they don't have Pomeranians in Germany.
Hmm.
They came from France, but
Like
didn't
her outfit.
her outfit came from France. So
Like
she is a worldly woman.
yeah.
She is well educated and she knows what's happening beyond her castle walls.
Hmm.
it's like the nuns made this, ma'am. So you might want to
I
in
need to
France.
get dressed.
That was when she right. When she saw her husband and she was like,
I'm gonna go
oh,
change. Actually,
she
hold
was
up.
like, I need to go put
This
on
man
my
is fine.
actual wedding gown. I apologize, y'all. I won't
Baby.
be.
I was serving basic. I'll be back.
And when she came back giving us greater hair, that was
Yes.
the first
The
wig that
hair
arrived.
made me cry.
I
Okay,
was like, come through hair,
I have a few slides
baby.
That I
Oh,
loved
just
it. I
about
loved it.
just about the hair.
Okay,
The
Jade,
that
can I
pineapple.
say one
Yeah.
thing?
Yes.
There is this scene in the book. It's the last time I'm gonna talk about the book. Where George is coming into Charlotte's room and she already has her bonnet on, and she's like, "Well, he gonna have to get it with my bonnet on." And I was just like, "I love that you wrote that. I love that you wrote that. It was so great."
Ah,
this was just stunning,
these tiaras though,
spectacular.
like,
Look at that face. Look at that makeup.
Oh,
like
she's so
she's
pretty.
gorgeous. Like,
She's
Yeah.
so pretty. I mean, just flawless and delicate. Flawless.
Mm.
Oh,
mm,
and the hat.
them ruffles.
The
Just
pleats were just giving me opulence. I was like, wow. Like, say you're rich without
Opulent.
saying you're rich. Pleat, 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 tuck. Mm-mm.
just oh my gosh.
Honey, when they had her, as a woman who has worn many girdles in my life, when she was in that carriage going to see the husband, and her brother was talking all that smack, she was like, I have to sit like this
Whalebone.
Right.
because a whalebone might stab me in
Right.
between my thoracic lung nerves. I might die. Would
Oh.
you
And then
stop
wait, and
talking
then
to
she
me?
threatened it, and then she said, she's like, "Don't make me sit up."
Mm.
Like I will end it all right here.
Mm-mm-mm. I don't think people understand.
So the oh shoot, there was one more thing I was going to point out.
5 out of 5 stars. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So in the very beginning, I I don't think it was on for a full 2 minutes and I started crying. And it wasn't anything anybody said. It was just seeing these black people in these costumes
The existence
portrayed
of it
this
all.
way,
Hmm.
knowing that this really was a black woman and there were black people there, but they've been erased from history. So now it doesn't matter that you erased them. We can find them, and we can also represent them in fictitious work. I think that that's what Shonda is saying in the beginning. This is a fictional story. Yeah, this is fictional, based on fact. Black
Just like
people were there.
every story about Shakespeare, just like every story about Julius Caesar, just like all the other tales,
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra. These are people that actually lived and breathed. And people make up they fill in the blanks in the storytelling and tell their version. But it's always based on a historical figure that lived and breathed.
Okay,
So,
Jade, did
yes.
you like Lady Danbury more? Like, cause that's a history that I had not seen on screen. That like she was royalty. Like she's like, do you know? Like she spoke beautifully of where she was from. She's like, no, like we're solid.
Well,
Um, yes.
so it is based in some fact, because if you look at who Charlotte's granddaughter is going to adopt, and now I can't think of her name, but the little girl that was basically taken from, was it Sierra Leone? Okay, I don't remember where. I don't remember where she was taken
I,
from, but she was brought to Queen Victoria. Her basically her kingdom was demolished by slavery. Her family was killed because of slavery, but she was kept, and she was presented to Queen Victoria as like a gift. And Queen Victoria was like, this is, I'm just going to adopt this child, and I'm going to take care of this child. And she did. And she helped to raise her and made sure that she married a black man that was in her class now, because she was elevated, because she was always elevated. She was a princess. So, although Lady Danbury is a fictitious story, there is still some fact in there. There were black people in those courts.
because everybody didn't get there through kidnapping.
Mm-mm.
Ambassadors, all the things, all those things existed.
Uh, there were many Africans that were an active that participated in the triangle the triangle of trade that was slavery, that brought sugar and rum, and they were ambassadors and dukes, and they had houses, and it was a business.
We
Yep.
And there
talked
were
about
many
this.
Africans that participated and
I
lived
just
in court.
And now I just got to show Lady Danbury one more time. Just one more time. Just because.
I love, that moment where like somebody can tell you their name and you know that name, but you don't know why you know that name. When she said,
Hmm.
when she said Violet. I was like, yeah, that was her daddy. You slept with that lady daddy.
I mean, and she did.
And it went, and I loved it, and I wish their affair had gone on because our mother was vile.
Mhm.
And somehow Violet still was a good person. See, this helped me understand why Violet was never stressed about the little grandbaby she was holding. Violet had her principles together at an early age. She was like, they're really smart. They're really great. They're just like us. I was like, that is so on brand for who she
She
turned
Mhm.
looked
out
at
to be.
she looked at
Like
Lady Danbury and she was like, she's beautiful.
Like, she's beautiful.
I'm gonna be her friend one day. I like her.
And her mother was such a vile, despicable racist.
She is like the wives often are, but we don't want to say it's all the men. But I'm like, no, 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 no. It
Okay.
be the ladies.
Is there
Mhm.
anything that you didn't like or that you hated about Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton
Old
story?
episodes
It wasn't long enough.
Yeah, I
could
need
have
some
been
more
long.
episodes.
Could
When
have
it's
been
Um,
eight.
I
season
wish,
two,
I really wish that Lady Danbury would find love again, because it seemed like
Yeah.
that was the last time her garden was
Bloomed.
plowed.
The yeah, plowed.
I don't think it was the last time that her garden was tended to.
I think it's the
Okay.
last time she cared.
Right, because what she said to
Yeah.
Violet was she was like, "Duh, don't worry, I get it in, you just don't know."
I'm
And some of
discreet.
us have
Yes.
She
discretion.
said, "I'm discreet." So
Yeah.
I feel like that was the first time that her garden was tended in a way that she knew, like she didn't know gardens could look like that.
That it wasn't
Mhm.
a chore.
Hmm.
That it wasn't like your
When
head
she
hitting the
said, "I'm
wall.
sorry, I can't look at this ceiling. Give me a second," and she got on, yeah, Lady Danbury was ready. She
I loved
said,
it.
"If you want it, let's do it."
But she didn't.
Got it.
But she didn't
Let's
fall like
do it.
genuine. She didn't
See?
fall like
Oh my
genuine.
gosh.
Mm-mm.
That
Okay.
actually, that song should have been playing. If it would have been like, hey,
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you your final scores. Let's see, but I had one more slide because I had a couple more things. Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. Hold on. Make sure you have your wait, maybe that is it. Maybe that's
I
it.
want to
I
watch
did it.
Reynolds.
I can have
The
her
other
clicking.
butler.
Uncle G Wine fell off the stage.
I
Oh,
think
Oh
wait,
Lord, he jumped.
Yes, I
Good
saw
Oh,
Lord,
he
that.
ran
I
that
was
good
like,
he
stuff.
jumped.
and got back
okay,
up.
so yes. These are just a couple of notes from the real Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
The first
yes,
debutante ball was in 1780 in honor of Charlotte's birthday. Those
yes.
balls would be held annually until the 1950s and then resurrected, I believe, in 2014 by Elizabeth. So Elizabeth stopped them and then she started them again. George studied science and loved agriculture, and he was known as Farmer George. Charlotte studied botany and loved the bird of paradise, which is a South African flower that was named in her honor. Charlotte brought two Pomeranians. I said that. George is thought to have been bipolar and suffered several forms of quote unquote treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Just
abuse. We watched that man be abused on TV. I did not like it.
it was
I
torture.
was I was not a fan of that either.
Okay, so starting with Lady Carlotta, what is your score for Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story?
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nick?
Um, after considering that they didn't use Pony in that scene, um, I'll give it a 5 still. I'll still give it a 5.
Okay,
That would have been
Stephanie?
brilliant though, right?
It could have been with the violin.
Right.
Somebody needs to make
And
a
she's like,
TikTok.
it would have been amazing. It would have been amazing.
Rhonda and I give it a Cinco de Fabulous. We're a solid 5. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Julia?
I'm scared.
Yes. Um.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Always be Julia.
You know what
I.
she gonna do.
It is not going to be a
Yeah, I knew
5.
she
I
was
can see it
quiet.
It's
right
not.
now.
It is.
I knew
It
she
is
was
going to
quiet.
be a 4.
Mm.
One, I thought it could have been longer. I could have done without the episode filled with George's torture. He had all sorts of maladies in real life, the Mad King. But that was excruciating for me. Particularly someone who has mental health issues. I was like, ooh, no, I can't watch this. And I thought it could be smuttier.
Okay, but they did respect the black bodies though, and see, I wasn't mad
Yes.
about
Mhm.
I think on a scale of 0 to Victorian smut, they hit like a solid 9.
Yeah,
She
they
For
was
got
the
up
in the
there.
tub with her
No,
whole
but
outfit
you
on.
have to remember what the first season of Bridgerton was, y'all. The first
Remember whose
season.
body we
Come
saw
on
though?
now. Come
but,
on now.
but we were looking at that young tender gentleman.
My
What that
God.
Yes.
boy? What that
My
Well,
boy name
God.
is?
Reggae Jean,
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
It
I
was
you
the
need
can
that
respect of the
sort of
black body
you
smut
can
thing.
level.
see him in Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh wow.
Does he
I
take
haven't
his
seen.
shirt off?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I'm not interested. I tell you what.
He's in the
Like-
movie. That's all you need to know. He's in the movie.
He's so pretty. He's so pretty for no
Bit
reason.
smuttier. I'm sticking
Okay.
to it.
I love it.
Any final thoughts?
What is your score,
Oh, 5.
Lady Jade? Okay.
10. 10.
5.
Okay, Jade, I have a side question. You know, there's always like the primary love story and the secondary love story. What score do you give the secondary love story?
Which secondary love story?
Who was? There were like 4.
I don't know. There were 2 secondaries that I saw. What do you give those?
Brimsley and Reynolds?
That I needed that in my life. I needed to see love, and I needed to see like that.
Dansbury and Violet's daddy.
Mm.
I don't know how I felt about that.
It was a love story, though.
It was. Oh, it was. It was a
It was a love
respect
story.
story.
Like, he
Love
never
story.
stopped loving her. He just knew
Nope.
he couldn't again.
Right.
Because he would have left his wife.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%. That's why
I kept thinking about that scene from Harlem Nights where he picked up the phone.
Put your mom on the phone.
Put your mom on the phone. I ain't coming home. That's how I felt every time. When I saw that, that's the first thing that popped into my head. Like he is gonna call out for a pack of cigarettes and never go back.
Okay, Rhonda makes the best point that the friendship between Violet and Lady Danesbury was also a love story that needed. Like that was a friendship, beautiful story.
It was. It was
It
a
was.
beautiful.
That was
love
a good.
was,
Yes, that
it
was good
was.
female bond. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
It really
It was a very the girl power was real in this
Mm-hmm.
particular series. It was very the women had each other's back.
Sorrow's prayers.
And it didn't make Violet not Lady Dansbury friend when she found out that she slept with her
Nope,
dad.
it sure didn't.
No.
She got all the things out. She was like, any of this
He was like, let me make it very clear that I know.
That my mama wasn't shit. Oop. I know my mama was a demon and she made my daddy life miserable. And I remember that one day I saw him happy when we ran into you behind the house and the thing. And now it all makes sense to me why he was waiting for my mama to die.
Mm.
You should have been my stepmama. That's what she said when she put all that stuff out.
I appreciated how he didn't just come and then end things. He brought Violet
Yes.
because she would be the reason why he stayed.
The
So
only
it's
reason.
very clear that I really do want to talk to you,
Right.
but I've got this little girl that I can't leave.
With this monster.
I appreciate
Lady Karen of Ray Sonia, my wife.
Yeah.
Lady Karen of Whitetopia.
Of Whitetopia, yes.
Man.
And she was Lady Karen of Whitetopia.
How about just England?
UK.
Yeah. England.
Big laugh.
It was
Big
really
laugh.
on brand.
Yeah.
She was just anybody who works for the Daily Mail. That's who she was. Just
Stephanie, I forgot about Sorrow's prayers because I will.
Yes.
Be
it's my new official Sorrow's prayers.
Sorrow's prayers.
Sorrow's prayers. Why is he still active? My God. Is King dead? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you're here. Somebody's dead.
Carla, where can we find you?
All over the interwebs. I'm Carla Stillwell on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can follow the Stillwell Institute for Contemporary Black Art at the Stillwell Institute on all these places. And my other organization is Collaboration Theater for Social Justice here in Chicago. We have an event coming up June 15th called The House of Belonging, where we will be bringing the community together with a little magic, a little voguing, and some DJs. So if you are in Chicago, please collaboration.org. Go get your tickets.
Stephanie, where can we find you?
Putting my daughter to bed because it's 9:20 on a school night. So I gotta go. I'll be on the internet at some point, but not today because my child's walked by here several times. Last time I stayed on here too long, I caught her watching Golden Girls, We do Deep South episode. So I
She can't watch Sophia. She can't watch Sophia.
Okay. Okay. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Lord Nicodemus, where can we find you?
NickWickham.com, the comicbookNickWickham.com. I ain't done an episode in a long time, but you can watch all the old stuff. It's fantastic. I'm also the new artistic director of Bag and Baggage Productions. We just announced our 23-24 season. We had auditions and cast the first show this weekend. So we are heading into rehearsals in June. We open in July. Find us at baginbaggage.org and check out what we got coming up.
Yay. Julia. Oh, I'm sorry. Marchioness. Is that how you say that? Marchioness?
The Marchioness of Parkerville, the widow of a marquis.
Did you say the... Okay, go ahead.
Yes. But no, you can't find me anywhere. No.
Oh,
I don't generally interact with people outside of my Star Trek bubble. So yes.
okay. Well, let's see. Afros, Capes, Curls.com. Thank you to Rhonda and whomever else was in the chat. Thank you so much, Rhonda, for being a wonderful participant and a fabulous volunteer for the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls. She is going to be at the Steampunk Tea Party on June 10th, 2023. Your tickets are available now. Please go get them. And if you have not seen or purchased your copy of the Steampunk Tea Party Celebration of Black Victorian Excellence commemorative photo reflection book, that is also available. And those things can be procured at afroscapescurls.com. I think that's all the things.
All the things. Thank you for having me, Jade.
Yes, it was great to be back, y'all.
Yes, thank you, Jade.
Next week, we're going to be talking about Picard, Season 3, a full review of the season. We did a midpoint, so we're going to wrap that season up and then also talk about The Mandalorian in June. So there you go.
We're going to talk about how Picard redeemed itself because
we'll talk about it next
Season
Monday.
1 and 2? Season 3?
No, we're not going to talk about season 1 and 2. We're just going to talk about...
She's just saying it was trash. And that now season 3 is less trash. And she feels better about it and is excited to talk. Did I translate that correct?
Thank you, Carlotta.
Because I was like, I don't even know why you brought up seasons 1 and 2. Like, why did you even bring it up? Don't bring it up.
Here in Shakadonia, we do speak many languages. Petty.
Thank you.
Say.
We do. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being here and talking about Queen Charlotte. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.